Okay. Today we're doing something completely different. I had another meltdown. And quite frankly, I have these meltdowns often enough. And it's like this whole process of questions that I ask myself, you know, and so I'm 32 years old now, going on 33, and like I sometimes feel that I was not doing enough to prepare in a way for now. Like I always feel like I'm fighting against life and like battling with time and like the trade-offs. Like I always feel like I have to do a trade-off in order to do what I really want to be doing. And it's strange because I have these two sides to me, right? Like I have one side of me that really loves art and I really do want to do that, but then this other side of me, the coaching spiritual side of me, is, I don't know, I feel like a sense of duty, as if like I have a duty to go and help other people, and I know I'm good at it, but it's something that I want to do because I'm good at it. And then this art stuff is kind of like just easy and joyous, and that's the conflict in a way in myself, right? Like I want to do this thing where I have no idea how it's gonna pay, but like I have to do something in the meantime because I have to survive. And it's like I greatly would prefer to coach than to go and get a job. Greatly. Because if I get a job just serving drinks, or I don't even know what I would be doing, I just also feel like, other than these two things, like I'm not trained in anything. That's like the only two things I've ever put my energy into. So, but yeah, exactly. So like if both of these things that I really love don't start to pay enough, you know, then I'll have to go and do a third thing, which I'm just not excited about at all. And then it's like, how do I manage my time? Like, I want to be free and carefree and light and easy and just, you know, draw and explore this world of imagination because it's so soothing and so healing. And then I also want to share this experience with other people. I want to do these drawing as a sacred activity workshops where we just do it together. Like I love doing that. I want to do all the things. I want to do all the things, and it's such a struggle sometimes. Oh my god, it's like if I'm away from this one thing for too long, then I feel like my heart is breaking. And yeah, I'm like, can I say it the other way around? I don't know even, like, because I've never, ever since I've been a kid, I've never been in a position where I could really just create art. I mean, there have been times where really I had the space and the time, and at those times I was distracted and blocked, and now I'm like, oh, why didn't I use that time better? And now it's like, now I don't have as much space and time for it anymore. And it's like, how do I shift these things around so that I can spend more time and more just be easeful? Like, I don't know, like maybe that's the thing that I dream about so much, is because I feel like, I don't know, maybe if I just accept that like life is not easeful and that it's just a struggle and that it's hard and that there's so many challenges, and I stop kind of like wishing for this easeful life, maybe if I just accept it, it'll all be better and easier. And I won't cry. But as I was crying, I was just thinking that like this is something that so many people are feeling right now. Like I got this instant download as I was kind of in my thoughts, and the thoughts slowed down and I could just see, oh shit, you know? I got this voice that just said it could be worse, and then I was like, it's true, it could be so much worse. I am in a quite okay position. Like nothing's doomed, you know? I can sort my shit out. It's all quite fine. And there are people suffering so much in much worse positions, you know, where they're extremely stuck, you know, like their commitments and finances and everything could be so complicated and so messed up, and they could be traumatized. Yeah, like at least I've done my healing, like at least on that end I'm kind of like, it's okay, like everything's okay, like I can handle this, you know, and I can kind of stay centered and grounded and just feel like it's all gonna be fine eventually. Like even if now I'm kind of wrestling a little bit with some things, you know, like time, I want more time, you know, I want more money, like everyone, of course, right? More friends, more good times. I feel like, oh my god, like sometimes I also have to remind myself, like we're in a pandemic, like it's the pandemic is still not over, and it's been so lonely. Like the last 2 years have just been like long distance phone calls. Like okay, me and my boyfriend, like we were together for the most of it, but like even that, like I deeply appreciate the fact that at least like I had that, you know, like some level of comfort of being with someone, you know, and not feeling completely alone in this. And there have been people who've really gone through the pandemic and suffered such a great deal, you know, just feeling alone and feeling disconnected. And every time when I feel alone and disconnected, I just realize like, oh, you know, other people are feeling that too. I just feel that senseless disconnection, like senseless feeling of disconnected when we really are all connected. Like if we were not all connected, I couldn't feel them, you know, connected to me in both of our loneliness. Which is just such a trip, because recently also someone said this to me. They said that, oh now I'm trying to remember. Yeah, like I was kind of complaining about loneliness, and I was saying that I want connection, and someone said, but the connection is always there. Like there's nothing outside there to want, especially in terms of relationships or friendships or connection, or like a feeling of connectedness. And I get that, I really get that, but at the same time I still really do feel my physicality and my humanness and my need for connection and real bodies, and it just trips me out because, you know, social media is being designed in a way that it makes us more and more isolated, and we stop interacting, you know, with the people around us. I mean, if I count the amount of interactions, unless you're going to a physical place of work, and like almost half the population during the pandemic started working from home. So yes, okay, at home you have your partner if you're lucky, right, and you have a family. There's so many people who don't have anyone at home, and there's so many people who don't have friends. And we are starting to connect online, but at the same time it's very worrying that you have this world online, but like your real physical body connection in the real world is just like not that much, you know? Like for me it wasn't, because I've just moved here, so the last 6 months have just been relying on my online world. And I have made a friend here, a physical friend, and that was just, I don't know, I think like the last, maybe the meltdown was, you know, caused by all these feelings that I had when I went for the weekend trip with my friend, because it was the first time in so long, well, I had a friend visit, so maybe like, let's say 4 months, that I've really kind of been in a physical space and had dinner with a real friend. Because I left Taiwan, I was in Taiwan for 8 years, and then I left Taiwan like kind of like 1 year before the pandemic. So imagine like all of my 20s, all of my friends, my physical friends are there. And now I leave. So now I'm in a new environment. Yes, I make friends here, but then I leave again. And there's many people, I think more and more people, who are having that experience of just constantly leaving and constantly like re-immigrating to a new place and having to rebuild your life. And I don't know, I think like we all need to talk more about the struggle. And we all need to kind of, you know, because if we're all like going around pretending everything is normal, but there's this like mass invisible change that's going on that is a design choice. Like social media is a design choice, and working from home, working online, like our physical bodies are being chained to these devices and for more and more time of the day, so that we don't have time to be out there in the real world, right? Unless we make an effort. Because before, like, you went to school or you went to work, and at work you met these physical people, right? But if everyone's working from home, you're not meeting physical people, right? You're gonna have to be the one that's gonna make the effort to go out there and figure out how to make friends with your neighbors. And it's, you know, very weird nowadays. Like it's a stretch, you know, to just go up to someone and be like, hey, I'm your neighbor. So making friends. And I've been reading this other book, I think it's called How to Make Friends in the Age of Disconnection. And it's crazy, but like I'm reading a book on how to make friends, because I realized that if I work from home, if I have an online business, and if I have a lot of long distance friendships, I need to be the one that goes out there into the real world, not in the online world. Because in the online world, I'm already doing that, right? Like I'm hosting these workshops, you know, like I'm on calls with people. Like the sense of community online is great, but I'm seriously neglecting my real world experience. And the first couple of months, I was like, oh, it's fine, I just moved, like it's all gonna sort itself out later on. But the longer it drags on, the more I realize like, whoa, I'm gonna have to do something about this. Like no one's gonna come knocking to my door. Like I need to figure out things to go to. And in this town where I'm now, I've been giving the excuse that it's too small and that there's nothing to go to. And I did try. I feel like when I first moved here, I was kind of like like I'm gonna try, I'm gonna talk to people. And I had a couple of conversations, and like trust me, I'm a very curious person, but it was just a culture shock, because it's a really small town. And I've been living abroad and kind of like living a global life for so long that I'm so deeply out of touch with like how this works, how a small town works. And it was like just complete like different frequency and like different way of being, that we just couldn't communicate. Like they'd be talking about some stories that are going on in their world, like the garbage system and like the council not giving them like better garbage bins. And I was just standing there and just like blink, 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 like you know, I can understand that if you live here, like that kind of thing is like a major event, and it's like, you know, if they take 5 pounds away from you, you need to go and like fight for that money because it represents something historically. It's this place is changing, it's becoming corrupt. Like, cool, but it's just impossible for me to relate to, and I just feel like, well, what difference does it make, right? So I find it just boring. Like I can't help myself. It's just boring. So I don't know. Like, I think a lot of it's mostly about people, well, like usually so usually someone who's a nomad like that would just keep going and just continue being a nomad, but I just started feeling this shift inside myself, and that's another kind of embarrassment, you know. It's like, if you've been a nomad for so long, like you're expected to kind of go to a big city, you know, like Berlin, London, New York, whatever, and, you know, be based there and have a cool life and whatever. But it's like, none of these people usually go to a small town unless they do, and very often it has to do with their significant other getting a job there, or like they have family there or whatever, you know, and you just end up going there. And I've seen it. I've seen many examples, and I'm sure that these people were suffering to some extent, and there's a bit of a kind of identity crisis, you know. It's like, whoa, like how do I navigate this now? So I think we all need to talk about this more. We need to talk about loneliness and shame, and just, you know, the level of disconnection that we're experiencing. Like, yes, there is a great level of connection online, but at the same time in the physical world there is a lot of disconnection happening, and I want to destigmatize struggle. Like, I want us all to be able to share these things and just come out together and, you know, discuss strategies. You know, like there's this book now, you know, how to make friends, like what are the different strategies that we can employ. And I haven't read it yet. I'm talking about it as if I read it, but that's the other thing, is like I started and I was like, oh, I don't have time for this, you know, like I don't have 2 hours to learn how to make friends. Like, this is annoying. Why do I even have to do this? But I will read it. I will read it, and then I'll make a video about it. It's like I'm recommending a book I haven't read, but I've gone through it. I get the idea. The idea is that it's on us. We're gonna have to be the ones to create community. And I'm also kind of thinking, you know what, like if I'm so visionary that what I want does not exist in these places, well, why don't I freaking make it, you know? Why don't I make it and invite people and kind of be the leader? Because I feel like I've spent my 20s just always kind of projecting outwards and like trying to find, like, that's why I traveled so much, that's why I lived in all these places, because I was always drawn to kind of just like trying to discover something or find a less boring place, you know, or like go and live somewhere where things aren't boring and dull and there's stimulation and interesting people and stuff going on. Which once you are there, it's like a very strange kind of disappointment. It's like, and that's another thing that I think about a lot, is like the passivity that we are being indoctrinated into, because like ever since, you know, TV, like everything has just been fed to us. Like we vicariously live through other people. There are people who are perfectly fine with their little, you know, small town existence, and they, you know, they feel the call for adventure, because all of us have a call for adventure in ourselves. But it's like it gets pacified, you know, because they're like, oh yeah, like I had this amazing experience, great adventure, oh my god, I did this and that. But like all of that actually happened in a TV box. You didn't do anything. Like your life, you didn't even engage with your life. And I think that's the part that's problematic. Like entertainment in itself is not problematic, but not engaging with our own lives and just being pushed, you know, and like squeezed into these little containers, these little boxes, these little categories, little personality shaping. I think that's very problematic, and the more we can voice our dissatisfaction and our struggle, the more we have ways to kind of take our power back in every way, right? Like, your personal private life is revolutionary, it's radical. Like, that's where politics are actually happening. So that's the personal is political. And yeah, I think I'm gonna finish it here now. I know it's a very abrupt ending. Very abrupt ending. There's a kid actually behind me, behind my camera. And I'm like, what the fuck do I do now? I think he's just staring at me, recording myself, and he's like, the fuck? Like, this girl is even weirder than I thought she was. But anyways, I just want to say it is so healing to come out and, you know, confess. It's kind of a confession, and I think all of us need to do more confessions. We need to talk more about our struggles, because it's like, if we're keeping the struggles inside, we're making it seem as if we're the ones that did something wrong, when it's just not the case. It's like society, the environment, like this chaotic, weird ass world that we're born into, that's what's wrong. It's not us. We're just having like a authentic reaction to it, and all of us are having different reactions. But it's like, the more we can share our reactions. Maybe, you know, like, my reaction is not the exact same as yours, but maybe, you know, like, there's a middle ground somewhere where that shared experience can just make you feel like, oh, you know, I'm not crazy. Like, I'm just having a normal human reaction to so much uncertainty, and like, life is changing at the speed of light. You know, whatever our grandparents or parents told us and try to teach us in order to prepare us for life is just not applicable. And like, in my case, for example, like, my parents and grandparents were freaking peasants, you know what I mean? Like, they were working class peasants, uneducated. They couldn't have prepared me for this grand technological age where everything is changing so much, you know. And like, even if you went to, I mean, like, a basic level of education, you're like, I mean, the future is bleak, you know. Like, unless we self-educate ourselves, unless we become more entrepreneurial, unless we connect, unless we share our experiences and our struggles, it's a time to come out, and it's a time to connect over these things, and it's a time to help each other out. And we're not meant to be suffering in silence. So this is what I wanted to share. I wanted to share this today because I just felt called to it. I felt like I need to come and just be real, like, you know, share this moment as well, because I was thinking, like, you know, all of my videos are just too happy, too like la 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 la, you know, like, and I think sharing the struggle is so fucking important, and that's what I stand for. And then, like, I still get this compulsion to just you know, hide this stuff, you know, like, don't show this part. And I think we really just all have to show when we're struggling, and, you know, talk about our thoughts, you know, like, what's your theory about why this is happening? And I just always feel really bad when I'm struggling. Like, all of us are just alone in our own little corner, struggling and feeling like we're the only ones struggling. And if we could just kind of normalize struggle and accept it, and, you know, talk about it and connect with other people over it, I think we would just be much better off. So anyways, I've been wanting to do this, so maybe this is the time to kind of announce and test it out. But I've been having this crazy idea for a while that I want to do a struggle circle. like destigmatizing struggle circle, where we just get together. I mean, obviously it's going to be on Zoom now, but just kind of get together in an imaginary circle, and there will, obviously on Zoom there will be like a little icon that we're gonna hold, like you hold your hand or something like that, and then you speak, and you just have, like, the stage is yours, and you just talk about your struggle, like everything that you feel like you have no place to put, like you can't put it on social media, you don't want to tell it to your friends, I don't even want your family to know. Like, come and let's all of us just take turns and just, you know, like vent and just put it into that container. And I just have this feeling that it would just be like the most transcendental thing ever, because there's no place to go and do that. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create an event on my website, and then you can click on that and you'll get the Zoom link, and I'll choose a time to do it. I mean, I don't know, there will be a few of us who will want to do it, so there will be a few of us who will want to do this for sure, and then we'll see where this leads. So yeah, anyways, now I feel better. Sharing it, putting it out there, I feel better now. So thank you so much for being with me for as long as you were here with me, and I will see you again next week, and I'll put the link down below. And thank you for being here. Bye.